All right, and all this time I thought it was a professor saying this. The judge reminded me, no, it's the University of South Carolina president saying this, that he won't follow a state law that requires the Constitution to be taught to its students. We went to the street to see what you think about this.
I think it's pretty short-sighted and, frankly, pretty ignorant.
I think it's absolutely wrong what he's doing, and I think that they should definitely teach the Constitution.
We have to study it so that we know what's there, so we know what the foundation of the country is.
The American experiment has been the greatest success story in the history of the world, so yeah, I think it's done pretty good for us so far.
Every kid should know what that's about, and they should be, proud of the country.
It's a part of history. Why wouldn't they need to know it? We have a right to an education. I think that is part of the right to our education.
All right, just a sampling of folks outside here on what they thought about this to Judge Andrew Napolitano, who finds this more than just a little piece of paper, or to the professor of the university president's words, an archaic piece of paper at that.
Well, this is the president of the University of South Carolina, a school wholly owned by the state of South Carolina, and the state of South Carolina has a law. You work in a school, you run a school that's owned by us, you teach the Constitution. So he is without liberty not to teach the Constitution. I don't know what made him say it, and I know him. He's an up from the bootstraps, hardworking guy. He's not a left-wing kook. I suspect he's been surrounding himself with academicians a little bit too long.
He was saying that, 60% of the students get wind of this, either taking political science or other courses, but by definition, that means 40% do not.
Well, the statute actually gives him a lot of wiggle room. It doesn't say you shall teach this course or that course. It says you shall teach a course on the Constitution. You can teach a very basic course or you can teach an advanced course. But think about students graduating from a school funded by the tax dollars of their parents, who are told they'll have a basic understanding of the government, graduating from the school without a basic understanding of the government because one person violated his oath to uphold the law. As a state employee, President Pastides, his name, took an oath to uphold the laws of the state of South Carolina. Not just the laws he likes, but all the laws. Does this sound familiar to you, Neil Cavuto? Somebody taking an oath to uphold the laws and deciding there's something he doesn't like, and so he's not going to enforce them? You can see how that trickles down.
Right. But there are a large group of people, Judge, who feel that the Constitution is out of step and out of date.
Yes.
You hear that all the time.
I do.
What do you tell them?
I do, and I've heard it from the President of the United States, and now we've heard it from this President of the University of South Carolina, who called it archaic. It is the law of the land. It is the foundation of our country. It describes the government, and it restrains the government. If we ignore it, we ignore the rule of law, and we do so at our peril, and it'll bring about tyranny.
Now, those who push this position that we rely on it too much argue it bespoke of a time when slavery was okay, and a lot of the guys who wrote this were okay. It was a white man's world, a white man's rich world, and that it doesn't, again, bespeak of these times. You say?
As a result of the amendments, the 27 amendments to the Constitution, we have rid ourselves of the prejudice against women and the slavery of African Americans and those aspects of it that were horrific at the time that it was adopted, but of course it was a different mindset then. It is really the greatest document in the history of the world for the preservation of liberty, but it is only as good as the fidelity of those into whose hands it is reposed for preserving liberty. Because if people like the President of the United States or the President of the University of South Carolina don't believe in it, they're not going to enforce it, and if they don't enforce it, our liberty will not be preserved.
Wow. You said that better than anyone. All right, Judge, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.
He will not be enrolling at the university, just as a footnote. When we come back.